Hey, I'm Amelia Mosley and today we're bringing you a very special episode of BTN that's all about civics. As you can see, I'm here at Australia's Parliament House and today we're going to take a closer look at what goes on inside. We'll find out how new laws are made and learn about the different levels of government. But first, let's go and have a look inside.
Hi Amelia, I'm Sasha. Welcome to Parliament House.
Thanks for having me. So Sasha, where are we standing right now? This is amazing.
It is amazing. We're standing in the marble foyer. This is where people arrive when they first get here to Parliament House.
I can tell why it's called the marble foyer. There's lots of marble.
Yeah.
What about the floor? The floor's pretty interesting too.
So this black stone is actually a really old sort of stone. It's a limestone and it's 350 million years old. Come from Belgium. It's an ancient seabed and the stone in this area is all from Europe. So when we're thinking about the design of this building, the building was designed by Romualdo Gergela and it was the result of a competition from across the world, a worldwide competition. And the building is designed to tell a story, a timeline as you move through the building. So at the front of the building we have a beautiful Indigenous mosaic. You come into this space, into the marble foyer, and we have that sense of these tall columns and the cool marble, and it represents the idea of European contact. As you move through the building, we have spaces that represent settlement, and then Members Hall in the public areas, that represents the idea of now. And finally, as you move through to the back of the building, we have the Prime Minister's office. And that, of course, represents the future. And I was going to show you something special.
Yes.
We said that the stone is very old. Have a look here, there's even fossils down in the stone. Now, people who visit our building like to call this particular fossil Shaun the prawn.
Shaun the prawn.
Because it looks a little bit like a prawn.
It does.
Shall we head on in and have a closer look at some other things?
Let's do it.
Great. All right, Amelia, we have made it into the House of Representatives. Now this is a beautiful room, so you need to have a look first and just see how big it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It looks a lot smaller on TV.
It does look a lot smaller on TV. But the House of Representatives is one of our really important meeting rooms here at Parliament House. You'll notice it's green.
Lots of green.
This colour is the colour of green leaves on gum trees, so it's a very Australian colour. We borrowed the idea from Great Britain. They have a dark green House of Commons. There's also a couple of other traditional objects which we borrowed or inherited the ideas from Great Britain. On that large table down there, we would have the ceremonial mace, which is a long golden object which is carried by the Sergeant at Arms. It used to be used as a weapon, but now we use it as a symbol of the government and of the House of Representatives specifically. It represents the Speaker's authority in the chamber.
Members on both sides.
So we have somebody who's in charge called the Speaker, and they sit on that big chair up the very front there. It's called the Speaker's chair. And so that mace is put onto the table and the crown points towards the government. The government sit on this side of the room, and the government, of course, is led by the Prime Minister. The opposition sit on this other side of the room, opposite the government, and we have the opposition leader at the chair opposite the Prime Minister. And then, of course, we have our minor parties, our smaller teams and independents who sit at the bottom of that horseshoe. So the 151 members of Parliament each have a seat that they sit in, they take part in debates, they talk about things for their community, and of course they vote on bills as well.
Oh, wow.
I know, isn't it great? This is the Senate. We're now in our second really important meeting room in Parliament House. It's called the Senate. We have 12 senators from each state and 2 from each territory. So we have 76 senators altogether. When we think about a bill, an idea for a new law, usually they start in the House of Representatives and then they come to the Senate so that the senators can have a much closer look. And that means that the best possible ideas for laws are passed through our Australian Parliament. So these senators are voted in by the people of Australia and are just as important in making decisions as the members in the House of Representatives. Now, I don't know if you know how big Parliament House is.
Pretty big, I'm guessing.
Well, it's a good guess because it is pretty big. We have 4,500 rooms.
Wow.
And we've also got a lot of clocks.
I've noticed the clocks as I've been walking through. There are a lot of them.
So if we have a look here, you'll notice on this very plain looking clock that we have a little square between the 4 and the 5.
Ah, yeah.
Can you see it?
I can.
Great. And a little square between the 7 and the 8. And when Parliament is sitting, and that happens 16 to 18 weeks a year, the members and senators use these clocks and hear the bells when we have votes, or at the beginning of a session or the end of a session. So lots and lots of clocks. Clocks in the offices for the members and senators, all through the public areas, and even in the courtyards. So we're here at Parliament House. We have a Lego Parliament House. And it gives you a really great feel for what the building is like.
It's really cool. Ah, this looks familiar.
It does, doesn't it? So we've seen some really important meeting places. We've seen the House of Representatives, we've seen the Senate, and this is just as important. This is our education centre. So this is where over 90,000 school students from across Australia come and take part in an education program.
What are students actually learning when they're here?
In this Ed Centre, in this education centre, we can turn students into members from the House of Representatives, or of course into senators. They're learning how to be part of a team, they're learning about what the work of the Parliament is, they're learning about parliamentary history, and they're really collaborating and working together for an outcome. And that's how it works in the Australian Parliament.
So when kids walk out of here, do you think they feel inspired?
I think absolutely they feel inspired. So taking part in a program here, visiting the building, it really gives you an understanding of how the system works. We've had members and senators who've taken part in one of our programs, and I think absolutely every time a new school comes through the door, we could be seeing a new Prime Minister or a new Senator for Australia. So that's very exciting.
How many seats are there in the Senate? 56, 76 or 96? There are 76 senators, 12 from each state and 2 from each of the territories. What is the other name for the Senate? The upper house or the lower house? The Senate is the upper house. The lower house is also known as the House of what? It's the House of Representatives. A party is in government if it has A, the majority of seats in the Senate, or B, the majority of seats in the House of Representatives. To form a government, a party has to win more than half of the seats in the House of Representatives. There are 151 seats there, so it has to have 76 of them.
One of the most important jobs our senators and members do here at Parliament House is making laws. Let's find out more about how laws are made, starting with something called a bill.
Welcome, my friends, to the legislation factory. You've all been specially selected to be here today. Inside this place you will find ministers, senators, and at the end of the journey, only one of you will be eligible for the special prize, which is to become Australian law. May I see your golden tickets, please? Thank you. Lovely. And what are your names?
Bill.
Oh, of course. Well, right this way, please.
It's crunch time for these bills, and not all of them will come out the other side. But every day, lots of bills face the same fate in Aussie Parliament. So let's start by finding out what these bills are and why they're here. Well, a bill is a proposal for a new law or a change to an existing one, which often aims to address an important issue facing the Aussie community. They include things like the Aboriginal Land Rights Act, the Biosecurity Act, and the Disability Discrimination Act, just to name a few. The changes are usually suggested by government ministers, but community groups, businesses or lobby groups can also approach members of parliament if they have a suggestion. There are a lot of new bills that get introduced. We're talking around 200 every year. But they all have to go through a very rigorous process that can take months or even years before they become law.
Welcome to the first stop on our tour, the House of Representatives.
If members could just take their seats.
While bills can start in the Senate, they usually begin here in the lower house.
Here you will all be subjected to not one, not two, but 3 readings before we can move on.
That's easy. Yeah, all they gotta do is say yes. See you all on the other side.
I wouldn't be so sure if I were you.
See ya.
The government is focused.
The reading is a 3-stage process when a draft of the bill is presented to the House of Representatives and debated on. The first stage begins with the title of the bill being read aloud by someone called the clerk.
Treasury Laws Amendment, Cost of Living Support and Other Measures Bill 2022.
Then the minister who put the bill forward will make a speech explaining what it's all about. Once that's done, the debate is usually adjourned or paused to allow members of parliament to examine the bill and decide what they think about it. When they come back together, they debate the main idea of the bill and vote on it. And if the majority agree, it then moves on to stage 2. But this is where the journey of some bills comes to an end.
Well, I did warn them.
Prime Minister has the call.
Stage 2 involves a more detailed examination of the bill, where members can make changes and improve it if they think it needs it. This stage is called consideration in detail. Then there's another vote. If all is agreed upon again, the clerk will read the title a 3rd time, marking the final stage that the bill has been passed by the House of Representatives.
We did it! We made it through!
Maybe we'll both become laws.
Yay!
You're not out of the woods just yet. Come along now, the tour continues.
What's next?
It's time to go to the Senate.
Yep, the next stop on the bill's journey is just as dangerous for them as the first. Here in the Senate, the bills face the same treatment, but at the hands of different people. They go through another 3 readings and plenty more debating, which means some of them get rejected. But for the ones that do make it through both houses of parliament,
Congratulations! You made it!
So what's next?
they're off to the final stop, via what's called the Royal Assent.
Go ahead. Press the button.
The Royal Assent is when the bill, in its final agreed-upon form, gets sent to the Governor-General, who signs it on behalf of the Queen, and officially makes the bill an Act of Parliament, or, in short, a new law for Australia. And so, the journey of another bill comes to an end, but it certainly won't be the last.
Of course, this building isn't the only place in Australia where laws are made. We actually have 3 different levels of government, all with their own different powers and responsibilities. Let's find out more.
Hang on. Is that an alien? Oh no, what if it's here to take over the world? I need to tell somebody. The government. Yes, the government will know exactly what to do.
Hold up there, Nat. Now, which government are you going to tell?
Our government.
Yes, but which level?
What?
In Australia, our government has 3 levels: local, state or territory, and federal. And while they all work together to keep the country running, they each have different responsibilities. Let's start with local. They're mostly concerned with local issues. I mean, it's in the title. Australia actually has over 500 local governments. You might know them as councils or shires. They take care of things like maintaining local roads, garbage collections, looking after public places like libraries and town halls. Oh, and they're the place you go to if you need a building permit.
Oh, come in. How can I be of service?
Hi, I saw an alien earlier today, and I thought it was something I should tell the government about.
An alien, you say? Well, to be honest, not really my problem. Unless they're loitering and leaving their belongings on your curbside. Is that it?
No.
Oh, well, are their pets a pooping and they're not scooping?
No.
Is there a pothole in a road that isn't a major highway?
Yes. Yes, but it has nothing to do with the alien.
Oh, well, yep, not my problem. Okay.
Don't give up, Nat. Why don't you try the state or territory government next? Surely they'll be able to help. State and territory governments look after things like health, education, mining and agriculture. They also watch over their state or territory police force, the courts, as well as major roads and public transport.
Come in.
Hey, wait, don't I know you?
Can I help you with something?
Yes, look, I saw an alien earlier today, and I thought that's probably something you should know about.
An alien? It's not really a state or territory issue, is it?
Well, they're in your state, so yes, kind of.
That's true. Do they need childcare?
No.
Is there something wrong with their power?
No.
Do you have suspicion to believe that they're involved in illegal logging?
No.
Oh, Nat, not having much luck with state or territory either, are we?
No.
Well, there's one level left. Let's see how we go with the federal government, the guys at the top. They're the ones responsible for taking care of the country as a whole. That includes things like defending the nation, dealing with trade and other countries, and keeping a close eye on managing Australian money, taxes, communications, and the environment.
Yes? Hello, I haven't got all day.
Hey, okay, that's it. I know you. I definitely know you.
What do you want? I'm very busy. There.
Okay, I've seen an alien, all right? And I thought that I should let you know, the government, so that you could stop them or something.
An alien? Well, that does seem like a problem.
Yes, it is a problem.
A problem because they're not paying their taxes.
No, it's not a problem. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're paying their taxes or not, but...
Has it got something to do with fisheries?
Probably not.
Marriage?
No.
Defense?
Well, maybe. No, they look pretty peaceful, so probably no.
Let me guess. They want to send a letter, but they're doubting the effectiveness of the Australian Postal Service. I knew it.
No, they're aliens, okay? And I thought that aliens would be like an immigration problem or something.
Yeah, you're right, it probably is. Are you sure it was an alien?
Well, it was a hot day and I wasn't wearing my glasses, but they look like aliens.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out for this alien. Thank you very much,
Nat.
Nat. Thank you, Nat. Okay.
What's the leader of a state called? A premier, a chief minister, or a prime minister? The leaders of Australia's states are premiers. The leaders of territories are known as chief ministers. And the prime minister, well, you know who that is. Which level of government is in charge of rubbish collection? Federal, local, or state? That's the responsibility of a local government or council. Which one of these is the federal government responsible for? Ambulances, the Australian Defence Force, or pet control? The federal government is in charge of the Defence Force.
Well, that's it for this BTN special all about civics. Thanks so much to everyone here at Parliament House who showed us around. Now, if you want to see more specials just like this one, you can head to our website where you'll also find lots of teaching resources and stories on all sorts of different topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.